Over the last 50 years, the poverty rate in America hasn't moved. It was 11% in 2019 and it was 12% back in 1970. No real improvement. Corporations have profited from millions of Americans having so little, and banks have been making a killing. So in this video, I will explain to you the reasons why you are poor in America and how to overcome it and improve that statistic. So stay tuned. Hi there, my name is Jaime Shekaiban and I welcome you to my channel, The Foreigner in America, where I teach locals and foreigners everything they need to know about producing money, keeping the money, and multiplying it, specializing in the markets and real estate. So if you're someone like myself who loves money and wants to be successful and free, please subscribe to this great channel and hit that bell so you follow up on my 2 weekly videos. Also check out my blog, Instagram, and social media under the same channel name. And take a look at my book, which I will leave a link below for you to check out. That's a solid read. So without further ado, let's begin. America is the richest and strongest country in the world as of now. Whether it will continue to be in the next 50 years, that's a topic of another discussion. The problem is that in 1970, there was a 12% of poor people in the country. And 50 years later, after all we have progressed and learned in social media, technology, opportunities, etc., poor people are still in the same percentage of 11 to 12%. What you need to understand is that there are two types of people in America. And this is the same throughout the years. One person is the employee and the other is the entrepreneur. So by employee, I'm not talking about the CEO making 10 million a year. And by entrepreneur, I'm not talking about Mark Cuban worth $5 billion. I'm talking about the gross of the population, the guy making average income on a job and average revenue on a small business. The person earning its money from a small business rarely ends up in poverty, unless they lose it all and end up in a bad spot. But talking about the average employee making average income, point number one on why you are poor in America is wages are not going up fast enough. Since 1979, the bottom 90% of Americans in the US with a salary experienced earning gains of only 24%. So adjusting for inflation, this means you were getting increases of as little as 0.3% per year. So wages haven't changed that much if we account for inflation, especially the inflation today. When your average income stays the same with inflation and everything gets more expensive like housing, transportation, and food, many Americans from the middle class will eventually land in the poor territory if they're not careful with their expenses. While the disparity of income versus how expensive things are is one of the main reasons for the poor to remain poor, there is another thing very important to mention. And this is point number two, which is government aid not targeted towards poor people. And yes, we have food stamps and unemployment benefits as well as housing assistance paid by the government. But in reality, in 2020, we saw billions of dollars targeted towards families making from $75,000 to $150,000 a year. People got a free check 3 times for no reason, even if they had a job. And also the SBA gave free money away to businesses who really didn't need the money. And not even talk about all the money being sent overseas. Helping the poor get out of the poor zone is not a priority in this country. I know giving handouts to people is not a great idea to get people out of poverty, but there has to be more opportunities to teach people high income skills so they can get themselves out of that ugly zone. Talking about giving people an opportunity to come out better, allow me to mention point number 3, which is 1 in 18 live in extreme poverty. If you're making less than $15,000 a year, you're considered poverty in America. Anything over $15,000 will be considered the middle class, which is surprising since a person can spend that money on a car payment today easily without regret. When you have your basic housing, transportation, food, and medical care needs covered, it's easier for you to innovate, to create, to learn, to become a better self. But when you're hungry, living under a roof and feeling sick, it's extremely hard to get any kind of improvement in your life. 1 in 18 people in America live with less than $5,000 per year. And this corresponds to 18 million people, including 5 million children. How do we help these people? That's a question very few can answer, since America is a capitalist country where your value to other people is the only way to get ahead, and you get no handouts. And don't forget that America is a land of immigrants. It's a pool of people from all over the world. This is where point number 4 comes into play, which is racial wealth gap is as large as in the 60s. This is a very controversial topic, since you can tell me that anyone in this country has the same opportunities, but the median white household income had a net worth of $188,200 in 2019, compared to only $24,100 for a median black household. Is this the white people's fault? It's not. It's no one's fault. It's a sad but true part of how this country existed in the 1800s, and it has been carrying that legacy for 200 years. Remember, black people are not the only minority, and Hispanics also carry a big cross on income inequality. People need to put aside their race and concentrate on learning skills that produce money and investing the money to make it grow over time. I need to add a couple more good ones that are certainly keeping people poor in America. This is not the people making less than $15,000 a year, but the people making average incomes of $50,000 and that are also in danger of falling off the middle class into the poor class. One of them is point number 5, which is social media and technology are constantly hunting you down. In the 1970s and throughout the 90s, where people didn't have a cell phone with data access and they had phones who only made calls and texted, the only way the marketing people in companies will hunt you was through ads. Ads on TV, radio, magazines, newspapers, or out on the streets. But once you were inside your home with the TV and radio off, enjoying the company of a friend, or just chilling, reading a book, or watching a movie, or eating, there was no way you could get hunted down to spend money. But with the creation of the smartphone by Apple and then by Android, companies have spent billions of dollars to put ads everywhere. As soon as you glance on your phone is with you 24/7, and you're being hunted down 24 hours of the day to spend money. Amazon was created to help you become a real shopaholic. Before Amazon, we had eBay and others. While there's a small percentage of Americans who watch an ad and don't care about it, like me, they keep their money in their pockets. The other big percentage of them go and spend the money quickly because the ad is so successful. Banks created a credit card to help Americans become poorer. The stores created the loans, and companies started making these loans longer and longer to keep them affordable to people on a monthly basis paying huge interest. Is this wrong? It's a business model, and it's not illegal. If you do things just as the banks say, you won't pay any fees or any interest in your life and have a perfect credit score. The problem is people get caught with the ads spending more than they can afford. Minimum wage is not going anywhere in this country. It's been $7.25 for many years, while inflation is out of control. Corporations are laying off employees in the hundreds of thousands to appreciate their stock and generate a better earnings report for the next Q. Americans are more and more into debt, paying for things they don't need. And for the things they do need, like housing, transportation, and food, those are going up faster than their earnings ever will. We live in a great country where you can make a lot of money if you create value to other people. Working as an employee only creates value to one person, and that's the owner of the company. So stop being hunted by social media and spending your dollars on things you can't afford. It's great that your friend bought this $80,000 car and he has a picture on Instagram, but if you're not making $300,000 a year like him and have no debt, you can't afford it. Break the rule and jump off the poverty line into what America calls the upper middle or the high class and help others in need. Helping a person makes you a better person. But remember, take control of your life and take control of your money. Thanks a lot for watching this video. If you enjoyed it and found useful information, give me a like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you miss any one of my videos as soon as they come out. So have a great day. Don't lose any money, and I'll see you next time.